Straw Hut Media.
Hello on the Rockers. Tonight we are celebrating women in entertainment with actor, musician, poet Megan Davis, here to chat about her career in the industry and using art to get through life, with our guest co-host, PR guru, and co-founder of Mosaic PR, Jenn Salinas, and me, your sassy host with the sassy most. Raise a glass, let the games begin. It's On the Rocks.
Thank you for being
Boulevard.
Life is a banquet, and most poor suckers are starving to death.
I'd like to propose a toast.
This is On the Rocks with Alexander, where I drink with your favorite celebrities as we talk about fashion, entertainment, pop culture, reality TV, and, well, that's about it. So pop a cork, lean back, and raise a glass to On the Rocks.
Fasten your seatbelt. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Lord have mercy, buns and bows and pantyhose. On the Rocks podcast, a place where we're too glam to give a damn. Okay, everyone is freaking out. Christmas came early for the gays. This morning they announced Devil Wears Prada sequel is confirmed. Meryl is coming back. Emily Blunt is coming back. Anne Hathaway, not coming back. This story's not going to be about Anne Hathaway's character, Andy. It's going to put Miranda Priestley right at odds with Emily, because Emily has left as her former assistant, and now she's working for some luxury brand, and Miranda Priestley needs that advertising money because the magazine's not doing well because we know digital has taken over. That is the storyline for the next film. We don't know if Stanley Tucci's coming back, but if he has a gay cousin, hey girl. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at On the Rocks On Air, and on Facebook On the Rocks Radio Show. Send me an email, book me for a wedding, funeral, quinceañera, bris. I don't care. I will show up. Info at ontherocksradioshow.com. Send us your comments, guest requests, and guest questions. The show's presented by Straw Hut Media. You can now watch our over 358 episodes at ontherocksradioshow.com. You can watch us on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, on the Outlet.tv app, Facebook Watch, streaming with pride on SVTV, and on Channel 31 on the East Coast. Hello, East Coast. We proudly tape at UB & Go Studios, your one-stop place for podcasting. All right, On the Rocks on the road. We are traveling for the next few months. On the Rocks is popping up all over the place. I'm your MC for Out at the Fair, main stage at California State Fair with Patti LaBelle in Sacramento, Saturday, July 20th, all day long on the main stage, and at Washington County Fair in Hillsboro, Oregon. I've never been to Oregon. This should be interesting. On Thursday, July 25th. For more information or get your tickets, go to outatthefair.com. Tony, we're supposed to play a fancy little graphic for that, but you did not. Now. Okay, wow. Our award-winning tech right there. Thank you, Tony. All right, let's get the show on the road. Join me as my guest co-host today, Jenn Salinas, dynamic and influential force in the world of public relations, celebrated for expertise and success in talent, PR, TV, film, special events, brand awareness, and author representation. She is the co-founder of Mosaic PR in Beverly Hills, California, so chic, and has represented an impressive roster of award-winning celebrity talent in film and television. Clients include stars from Glee, Lost, Dexter, Weeds, Entourage, Community, Scandal, West Wing, Ray Donovan, Parenthood, Archer, The Office, Ozark, Euphoria, Shameless, American Horror Story, and Stranger Things. And the list goes on and on and on. She has successfully orchestrated awards campaigns leading to nominations and wins at prestigious events such as the Academy Awards, Grammys, Golden Globes, Emmys, Critic Choice Awards, SAG Awards, and Independent Spirit Awards. And beyond her work with celebrity talent, she's been instrumental in national PR campaigns and event production for numerous charity and nonprofit organizations, including Fran Drescher's Cancer Schmancer Foundation, Lift Up America, the National MS Society, Down Syndrome Association of LA, Make-A-Wish, GBK Celebrity Gifting Lounges, and the list goes on like a CVS receipt. And I've had the honor to attend some of these amazing events, and they are fabulous. Usually have an open bar and lots of gifts. I also have to point out Mosaic PR was one of the first PR companies to send us their celebrity talent over 10 years ago, if you can imagine it. We were first starting out. People were like, what's a podcast? Because nobody knew.
Nobody knew. You guys were the first.
Yes. And Jen and Mosaic believed in us, so please welcome Jenn Salinas. Hey, girl.
Hey.
Okay.
Hey.
You are the PR guru in Beverly Hills and beyond. You've represented every type of client. And what I love is that you guys have your big names, but you also have the foresight and you kind of have your finger on the pulse of who's up and coming.
For sure.
And you have represented some, and you're like, hey, have you heard of this person? I'm like, no. And then like 3 years later, they're like, oh, yes, thank you for sending them in.
Yes.
How do you keep your finger on the pulse of like who's really going to make it happen?
A few different things. Obviously, what's happening with their agent at that point in time. I get a lot of feedback from their agents or their managers to see how they're doing with their auditioning. booking, things like that. Of course, now we have an amazing tool with social media. And I'm trust me, I'm really bad at social media. I always like to say
Your last post was like in 2012.
I tell everybody
Just graduated college. Hey, girl.
I like to tell everyone, I'm the doctor who smokes. Like, I will tell you, you better post every day, but I will not do it.
But sometimes that works out. Like really great acting coaches are not famous themselves.
Yeah. But more so to like not to just get them popular within the masses, but also so that they can try to hold this room. Social media is pseudo a room that they need to hold because they're also holding a room when they're going into an audition, when they're going to an event, when they're unfortunately hanging out and they're in public amongst their friends. Like they're still having to hold a room, and you kind of get to see inside of their brain a little bit, depending on how they're responding, if people are responding to them. So that's fun. And then of course, even with events and things like that, and then interviews I watch, and you can kind of tell, like sometimes Tad and I, the other co-founder, we sit back and we go, okay, they have it. Yeah. They have it.
And you can't really teach that. You can coach people in interviews, but if it doesn't click, it doesn't click.
Yes.
And we've seen that on the show. Sometimes it's like, girl, get it together. Yeah.
And because even so there's a ton of people out there that have a lot of talent. They take a script and they can break it down and really give all of their oomph and stuff, but they're so withdrawn into themselves that they also can't take on that side of the job, with the side of holding that room. So when they're going in and they're auditioning, it's kind of like, I'm sorry, we're just not feeling it. And unfortunately, it's not that the talent isn't there. It's that oomph. It's that whatever it is that nobody can describe. No one can describe what it is. You just know when you see it. Right. And you're like, that's it. That's the one.
Or sometimes they're a great actor, but they're not one to send to events or red carpet interviews. They're just sent to like a Vanity Fair photo shoot because they're great at that. But like this face-to-face, no.
Yeah. No, there are also clients where we've learned throughout the years that when we're on a red carpet with them, we'll tell them, we're going to skip the interviews. We're going to go right to photos.
Like, give me face, girl.
Yeah. Give it there. And then we'll head out, and go in and have a good time and meet people, because something for them just doesn't feel authentic as they're giving these interviews. But if they're meeting the same people inside, which I can also introduce them to most people inside, they feel a little bit more at home with talking to them without having that microphone in front of their face.
Yeah. Okay, before we get to our guest of the hour, I want to pick your brain about something, a hot topic.
Okay.
J-Lo. Mm-hmm. It seems like overnight the media and even like her fans have like turned on her. And it was like overnight the media decided that J-Lo was not going to be our favorite star anymore and that we were going to take her down.
Okay.
All of a sudden, all of these clips and all these stories about her diva-like behavior came out that we haven't heard in years. Yeah. And it just seemed like it was a pointed campaign. We were also told that her film on Netflix coming out was going to be a bomb even before anybody had even seen it. Right. So it was a bomb because we were told that. We know she's going through a nasty divorce. She had to cancel her tour. She said it was for family issues, but it was because nobody was buying tickets.
Right.
That all came from the media. Now she has this reputation that she's just like, she's difficult. She can't sing. She can't dance, whatever. Whereas 2 years ago, she was like everybody's favorite. She's like, she can do everything.
Right.
What happened and what advice would you give to her PR team?
I think the one thing about J-Lo is that she can do everything except for be herself. Like that's where she doesn't succeed. And if she takes a beat and takes a step back, I've actually heard about these temper tantrums, these mood swings forever. I have a very, very close friend that toured with her and Mark Anthony, and the stories I'm not allowed to say, but I will say they are, and
I had never heard these stories.
Yeah, I think it's pretty well known inside of the industry of who she is, but And she's never been one of my favorites, but I always watch her movies.
The gays love her.
I dance to her music. It's interesting because I can't appreciate who she is. And I think a lot of people have done that. I think media is finally listening. There's a lot of things that media is doing where they're finally listening to the masses and they're going, oh, wait a second. We won't dictate the way that other people should feel right now. We're going to let the people dictate how they should feel, which is a huge... It's a great turn of events going on within publications. I love that. I mean, that I've been wanting that to happen for a long time. Not necessarily with the downfall of J-Lo. I'm just saying in general.
And it sounds like we're holding celebrities accountable. And I think it started with the whole Ellen downfall. When Ellen went down, all of us were in shock.
Yeah.
And then everything came out. And I think now celebrities are more careful. Like, girl, you better be careful, girl.
But also, why not? Like, I don't think that gives anybody, a pass to just walk around and be a jerk to people. And then the camera turns on and they're like, I'm the nicest person. I don't think that's fair.
But that's very prevalent in the industry, though, too.
I know.
You know, because you get to see all sides of your clients.
I see it all. Yeah. I see it all. And everybody turns away. You're just like, okay, you baby that person, whomever it may be, for a second. And I hate to use the word baby, but that's kind of what you do. It's the way you would treat a child. And then you just move forward. And that's what everybody does. And it's just like, oh, well, these are the things that happen. But these things should not be happening. This should not be allowed. It would not be allowed in any other workplace.
That is true.
And everybody's working equally as hard. I know a lot of people like to say that, being a celebrity must be so easy. No, you're up at all different times of the evening, sometimes early in the morning.
You're being judged every single minute of your life.
Every single moment of your life. I really love that John Corbett just had a really good interview.
That was so shocking to me.
But everything he said is it's like, yeah, that is so smart.
But the headline made him seem like a whiner. Because he's like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have done this. That was the headline that I saw many different ways. It's like, that's not what the article was about.
That's your clickbait,
Yeah.
So and that's we get used to reading that, and I'm glad they caught me,
Yeah.
And I clicked it and I read it. But he's so right. He was saying, did you get to read the John Corbett thing? So he was just saying that he's a creative. But he hasn't been able to be as creative as he would like to because somebody else is telling him how to dress, how to walk, what to say, when to say it faster, say it slower, cry here, walk to the right, and he was like, not every time I've made somebody laugh, those weren't my words. And so
that's terrible.
Yeah. I wish the first thing I thought of is I hope somebody lets him write a script or direct or, do all these amazing things that he could do where he could show that side of his creativity. That would be great. But to circle back around to what I was saying is that people really do think that being a celebrity is an easy peasy job. But when you're doing some really hard work and you're having to bring yourself into these really dark places, that's never easy, especially if you're already in a dark place. And
it's a lonely life. People don't realize just because people are around you all the time and paparazzi's around you and your quote unquote friends are around you, you are probably one of the loneliest people.
For sure. And you don't know who you can trust, who's there for real, or who, is wants to be your friend because they want to be part of your crew. There's a lot that goes into it. It's not an easy job, but I don't think that gives anybody permission to act like a jerk.
So should J-Lo take time off and just kind of be out of the public eye for a while and then come back?
So.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think so. And I think also that'll give her some space to learn a little bit about how she behaves, what she's doing, whether it be in public or in her personal life, and what she is, these things clearly are affecting all of it. I could never put my finger on it when people say, do you like J-Lo? And I'm like, I like her movies. I like her music.
I know what you mean. I've never clicked with her,
She's
but I
amazing
didn't
dancer.
dislike her either. And I liked Mother-in-Law and all that, but
I love it.
it wasn't like I was going out and getting her songs.
Oh, I would get up and dance. Like, I loved it all.
Well, girl, it takes a drink to get you to get up and dance. Let's be honest.
I don't dance so much anymore. I'm getting old.
Don't say that, because if you're getting old, then I'm getting old, girl.
Oh, baby, you're.
That was fresh.
All right, let's bring on the lady of the hour. I'm so excited to talk with her, Megan Davis, and she's our designated driver for tonight. So you and I can get a little crunked. Megan Davis is most known to audiences worldwide for her recent riveting portrayal of Amber Heard in the Fox movie Hot Take: The Depp Heard Trial, based off the sensational real-life court case that we all watched between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. That really held us by a string. She was also seen on TV in shows like American Horror Story, Two Broke Girls and Bones. Her resilience and dedication to storytelling have earned her recognition, including a nomination for Best Actress at the Los Angeles Independent Film Festival Awards. And with her first published book of poetry, What Breaks Us, which is now available everywhere, by the way, Megan reveals that because she doesn't like to journal, over the last 12 years of her life, she has worked all of that rage and fear and pain and growth and healing through poetry. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm not a poetry reader. I tore through these poems. I'm like, it's speaking to me. Like, it opened my eyes in a whole different way. We're going to talk about all of that.
It's beautiful.
And she's going to be giving us a little reading later tonight as well. Let's take a look at her visit with Entertainment Tonight, talking about her film, Hot Take.
I think what I was most surprised by was how much love I found between the two of them.
Shut up. Get over here.
Oh, I think it's cute.
Yeah.
I felt like if there's an opportunity here that I could maybe bring some understanding and love and compassion to this person, that's all I think any artist wants to do.
And let's just be honest, like many of you, I will be watching.
We were all watching. Please welcome Megan Davis. I call you the chameleon of Hollywood because every role, you know, it's you, but you look so different. You're like the Gary Oldman where it's like, oh my God, that was her. That was her. That was her. Yes. Well, we're going to talk all about that.
Okay.
But before we really get into it,
Yeah.
you are a true bona fide Southern girl. Like, you are an
Yes.
Oklahoma girl. There's not like,
I
I'm
know that
Southern
they would
because
say
you were
that,
like,
but
yeah. I want to know, because here in LA, we have our own ideas of like Oklahoma. Like, I was there, I had a layover once, and I had to spend the
Really?
night there once, and it
I'm
was
so sorry.
it was horrible. But I love the musical Oklahoma.
Yes,
no. What
Some
do-
bangers in there, like Surrey with the fringe on top.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't say no.
I'm just a girl who can't say no.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, really, really paving the road for feminists everywhere.
That's fun. Well, that's funny you mention that because that is problematic. But I want to know what you love most about your upbringing, the culture there that you wish more people understood about Oklahoma, things that kind of taught you about life that you still use today.
Well, you know, I don't, my family would say that I was like, my brother gave me, you remember the Princess Diana sweater where it had all white sheep and then one black sheep?
Oh, yeah.
He gave me that for Christmas.
They
Like
knew.
not that specific,
Yeah,
but like, you know,
yeah.
they did it. So I mean, it's very clear in my family like where I fall in that regard. You know, I went to etiquette classes. I did the debutante balls. I was
Did
so
you really?
so high on cocaine when I walked that, like
Love it.
so wasted.
I could see you
mean,
with like a cigarette, like this big, like
Yeah.
skirt, like
That's
look
how
at it.
That's how she was able to have 10 books on
Yeah.
her head.
So can I read them all tonight? You want to talk
Right.
about them? Let's talk about it right now.
Yeah.
right, totally. Well, I mean, you know, I was like the problematic child, you know, who got arrested like during the election year on the main street. So
Well, what got you into being that kid? It was just like in you, or were you rebelling against something?
no, I think, you know, I had a very difficult relationship with kind of the environment of Oklahoma, the environment of my family. And it took me a really long time to talk about it openly. Like I talk about it a little bit in the book, which thank you, by the way, that meant a lot to me that you said you don't really love poetry, but you felt
It's not that I don't
resonance.
love poetry.
Sorry.
I've always felt alienated from it.
Really?
You know, I think most of us feel we're like
Why?
poetry because we think it's like fancy. My poetry exposure is Shakespeare. You know,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the most because I think poetry kind of has a stigma around it that you have to, that it's fanciful and it's flowing and all that. Your book is like, this is life. Deal with it with poetry, you know?
You know, my ex-girlfriend said an ex-girlfriend of mine said something really interesting about
I
poetry.
love you compared to annex. I'm like, how many are there?
Well, how many are there for you? There's quite a few.
No
It's not like-
ex-girlfriends? Well, no. I have
No
one
ex-girlfriend.
ex-girlfriend. Yeah.
Really?
Ex-fiancé, by the way.
Really? What?
To a girl.
Wow. I can't wait. I'm gonna need
Wait
a
a minute,
picture.
you're not a gold star?
I had a few gold stars.
I'm gonna need a photo after the after.
She was
Keep drinking,
gorgeous.
keep
Gorgeous,
drinking, and
gorgeous,
then I'll
yeah.
ask for
Yeah,
details.
yeah.
No, but she said something really interesting. She was like, I don't really love poetry because I feel like they're constantly asking you to like qualify how smart you are. And I thought that was I thought that was very insightful because I was like, I could see that, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, I could see how it could feel alienating in this way of like, let me show you how clever I am. But kind of like songwriting, I feel like the songs that resonate with us the most are the ones that find that middle ground of like, you know, having clever insights, but also not trying to be too intelligent that like, you know, I mean, that sounds. Trying to think of a better way of saying that.
Well, I think if you make your art sincere, it's
Mhm.
audiences are going to respond to it. They're going to be able to find themselves in it.
Right.
And I think some poetry maybe is not sincere. Just like when we see art and we're like, that's a blank white canvas. Like, what's it supposed to say to me?
Right.
I think
Totally.
a lot of poetry is fake, just like a lot of entertainment out there is fake.
Well, I was just gonna say that's a really good example of like anyone who's trying too hard to make something too intellectualized. Like it's not a matter of that most people can't get it. It's more a matter of like most people want to feel something rather than to think into something when they're participating in the art as the consumer, you know? And so I totally agree with you. It's like you just have to let it be authentic. And then, you know, Rick Rubin wrote a brilliant book recently called The Creative Act. And it's all about like be authentic and then let go of the results. And that's scary.
Very scary because it's naked.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk about your book about poetry, your creative process. And we're going to talk about how somebody should approach poetry.
Oh, sorry, I didn't answer your question. So Oklahoma, basically,
This is the show. We're all over the place.
I know. I'm like,
and you're driving us home, so I
know. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. What I don't like about Oklahoma is what I feel like. I hate when people use the word nice because to me, that's how I relate it to Oklahoma. Nice feels fake. Kind.
It's condescending. It's like, how nice for you.
Yeah. God bless you.
Bless her heart.
Bless her soul. I got a lot of that. Kind feels authentic. And by that I mean that like it comes with a sense of they'll also be truthful with you if it needs to be that it's hurtful. You know, it's still going to be in a kind way, but it's going to be honest and authentic.
It's funny you use that word, and this is what your poetry does. You use language that you respond to. I know exactly what you mean. It's harder to be kind than it is to be nice.
So much harder. Yeah. And I think that's what I distrusted about Oklahoma and kind of like one of my biggest issues, and I still find it in manifesting in different ways in my life, which is that I need the truth to be acknowledged to feel safe. And some of that had to do with the fact that, look, I grew up in a physically violent household and that wasn't acknowledged. And it took me a very long time. Like I held that secret because I felt like I was betraying that family member, you know, to talk about it. But it was actually that I was betraying myself. Yep. And so I spent a very long time in my adulthood betraying myself in order to protect others.
Wow.
And so that, you know, that was a huge thing for me. And that I think was a big part of my kind of sidetrack there into drugs and alcohol was that I didn't know how to deal with the feelings that I was feeling. You know, it's a big thing for me is that like drugs and alcohol weren't the problem I was. Drugs and alcohol were the best solution I could have ever found until they weren't.
Right.
100%. It's a quick fix. It's like my life at home is so terrible. It's going to be better if I'm having fun and drinking and
not feeling whatever I'm feeling that I don't know how to deal with, you know, it's you find it and it works so well at first and you're like, this is incredible. And it's just taking a little bit more each time, you know, you never really get back to that first high. You never really get back to, but you think like my first drinking time was, I was 11.
I was going to ask, how did you get into it?
Yeah. Well, I was 11 and my brother was older than me. Maybe I was 13 and he had a party and I went like shot for shot. And
at 11 years old?
It was either 11 or 13.
I was wearing an Elf t-shirt at 11. Like, you're drinking.
Well, but because I thought that I was, I'm sure I was an absolute disaster. I don't, can we swear?
Or did they think it was, yeah.
Okay, I'm sure I was an absolute fucking mess.
I'm good for it.
Okay, $10.
We'll charge Mosaic.
Yeah.
Nice.
I am sure I was an absolute fucking mess because I was like, thought I was so cool and it made me feel not uncomfortable in my own skin. You know, I was so insecure. A lot of like my things with my parents and like the kind of difficulty I had with that relationship being, you know, the things that would have happened, they caused a deep sense of low self-worth. And that alcohol and drugs, like that made me feel like I was cool.
And you were probably, I mean, I hate to say it, but
not cool at all.
No. But like Drew Barrymore talks about, she was the cute kid that was drinking, you know, a can of beer or whatever. You know, there was that kind of like, you being so young, it was like, it was cutesy not knowing how it was going to affect the whole rest of your life.
Well, I should say like I was not cute.
Oh.
I like, just to paint a picture for you, like when I walked into 6th grade, I had hair that like wasn't straight nor curly. And I had braces where my gums had reacted in a way that you couldn't see that there were teeth. It was really just like the braces and the gums. And I rolled my backpack in
You didn't have a rolling backpack.
No, I
Tell me you
did.
didn't have
No,
a
I
rolling
did.
backpack.
With khaki pants with elastic around the ankles.
I love
Catholic
it.
school, right?
Catholic school.
Khaki pants. My
Did
grandma.
you have elastic around the ankles?
I needed it, but I didn't have it.
Because your mom loved you, rather than my mom
but
clearly
my grandma
did not.
was like, "Oh, I know what to get you," because my grandma was like very cute Mexican, but she was like so out of it.
Yeah.
She got me a members only jacket that was approved.
Oh my
members
God.
only jacket in high school, and then she's like, "Oh, I got you a perfect backpack," and it was a rolling
rolling-
backpack. I couldn't have been a bigger nerd.
I was in the same boat, and what's more
But I
embarrassing?
wasn't cool. I mean, not cool. It's not cool. But I wasn't like doing
You
drugs
used the rolling backpack?
because I didn't want to hurt her feelings.
That's adorable, though.
What's
That's
more
so
embarrassing?
cute.
I used it because I thought it was cool. Like I was like,
Also
this is gonna be the
adorable.
thing. Like I felt like
But
I
you
was
do
like
have
in
the
an airport
self-confidence.
now, but that was because I had to
But
find
it has
it.
to have come from somewhere, though.
It
Well,
came.
she probably
it-
got beat up every day, and then she had to be.
She probably knocked the
confident.
shit back out of them too,
Yes,
though, right?
I would
Exactly.
now. I mean, I don't. Then I was just pathetic. No, I think I think the self confidence came from this level of like going through such a deep low like drug addiction and
overcoming
living in
it.
my car, and then eventually overcoming it, and then having to become comfortable in my own skin because I got sober when I was 18 and I was still very confused about my sexuality.
Yeah.
I was still very confused about a lot of things. And I was kind of in this place of like, I'm going to have to either find a way to be comfortable with myself or start drinking again, which for me would have meant probably death or another institution or jail,
But to come to that realization at 18, to have been through rehab, and you're 18 years sober now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to go through that at 18, that takes some maturity.
I'll be 18 years sober this year. I just want to clarify.
But okay.
I know. I just don't want to count my chickens before they've had. I'm 17 years and 11 months and 2 weeks sober.
But I don't know an 18-year-old that would have gone through rehab and have come out of it and then like built the life that you have.
Right.
Well, that's very sweet to say. I mean,
It's not sweet. It's like honest. Can you imagine any 18-year-old right now
Right.
going through that and overcoming that?
I feel like I got lucky in a lot of ways. I mean, first of all, like just even the privilege, like to get to go to rehab rather than prison, because I was facing 2 to 11 years in prison. So I mean, like I have to acknowledge that.
You would have killed it in prison, though. I just have to say.
My first night in,
I would join your gang. Like that's what I'm saying.
No, this is how bad it was. Okay, so my first night in prison,
I love this.
I go in and it's first of all it's so dramatic. They make it like it's like the drama of it. Like you have to carry your own mattress. The girl next to me when we were doing our like strip down like cavity search, she's like, they're giving us our blankets. And she's like, I'm allergic to wool. And I'm like, good luck with that. Like, might as well be a vegan in prison. But so I have to like carry my own mattress. And I'm probably like 120 pounds right now. I was 91 pounds.
Ooh.
So I'm like struggling. And they're not really the type to like help you out.
No, they want it to be as traumatic to strip you away from any attitude. I mean, I watch another 48-hour, or like I watch the prison shows. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
I love
they're
those
fascinating.
shows.
but it's so intense and it's so scary.
Well, so I get to you get to this door and it's like this huge door, like so tall, and it opens up and it's all drama. And then you walk in, you have to wait for it to close, and then another one opens up, and then you go to your cell, and I get to my cell, and my bunkmate's like, "I saved you a spoon," and I
Wait,
was
what's the
like,
spoon
"Get
for?"
me the fuck out of here!"
What's the spoon? for?
Heroin.
Oh,
You melt it down.
what a nerd!
Come
I am.
on.
Such a nerd.
You
I'm
didn't
like,
know that?
for
It's like
chocolate
cereal?
pudding? No, this fat kid would have been like, does that mean
Right.
pudding?
But this is how lame I was. I got my breakfast the next morning. I'm aware that I'm like 91 pounds and kind of like, out of my element.
And you're the fresh meat too.
Exactly.
So everybody's looking at you.
So I get my breakfast and I'm like not really hungry because I've been on cocaine for like a year at that point. Meth like a year before that. So I hadn't eaten in forever.
Doesn't work for me. I'll tell you that much.
We'll have a chat after. But so I get my meal. I like scan. I'm like find the scariest looking person in there, and I just casually like put my food in front of here, and I'm like, "That's for you." Probably totally setting myself up to become a bitch if I had stayed in prison. Really,
But that
it was
could have
probably
been
not.
safer though.
It's probably not the right move. I mean, I'm gay, but like I don't want to be forced. You know what I mean? So like,
But was it the right move? Did it end up being the right move?
what
Well, I got out shortly after that.
How
so I
much
don't,
longer after that?
like a few hours after
Oh,
that.
got
my
it.
God.
Got it.
I'm thinking like months went by. And
No,
like,
no, no.
There's the rattling at night, and you're like,
No. I got taken out and immediately sent to the desert, where I spent a year in what they called behavior modification. Yeah.
Got it.
That was fresh.
Okay, let's back up a little bit though.
Yeah.
Because you're dealing with this drug and alcohol. You're also starring at 12 years old at the Tulsa Opera.
Yeah.
And you started this whole theater career.
Mm-hmm.
How did that work out? Was theater just your safe space?
Yeah, really. I mean, when I was a kid, like I was so lame. I was like 4 years old, like cleaning the floors, like dressed in rags, like
Annie?
Like
listening-
Annie? Yes!
Listening-
Yes!
No.
Shut up.
I did it like Cosette. I was
okay.
singing Castle on a Cloud.
Got it.
We're different generations.
I know.
I was
My
like,
thing was Annie.
you guys got so excited.
We
I know,
were so excited.
I like so badly wanted it to be Annie for you, but it wasn't.
Here's the thing. So my mom was a single mom.
Yeah.
So when this is dating me. When VCRs came out,
Yeah.
we couldn't afford a VCR, so you would go to the rental place,
Yeah.
and you'd give a deposit, and they would give you the VCR.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And you were allowed to rent
I didn't
3
know that.
movies.
Yeah.
So my mom would get her mommy movie for like when after bed, like a rated R. We'd get a movie we could watch together, and then it would be one for me.
How cute.
Every week it was
Annie.
Annie.
And that's when she knew.
yeah, but I didn't clean, just so you know. But yours was Cosette.
Yeah.
Castle on a Cloud. It's so
Castle on a
haunting.
Cloud.
And talk about somebody that's totally out of their element and not feeling the love and all of that
Yeah.
and finding their self.
Yeah, I mean, so like I would, be in and I was always super into art. Like I wrote my first like 10 chapter book when I was like 5,
But
and,
where did that come
wow.
from? Because it
have no
wasn't
idea.
in the family, right?
No, and in fairness, like my family did a great job. So my family's very like society, which I'm not. So
And you have like a big mix up. There's like
Mhm.
Irish, right?
Irish, no, Scottish.
Scottish, yeah.
German. But I always find this conversation weird because in America, it's like you have to like qualify your outside of America heritage.
That's because in the U.S. we are so one-sided thinking. Like
I
it's
have
like
this conversation a lot with a lot of people that aren't from here. And they're like, why do you need to know? And it's like,
Right.
that's just how we're raised here.
But I get it if it's a big part of your life. Like I've been, I've been in relationships with people who are like first generation, and it's so cool
Yeah.
to learn all of this. But I feel like such an idiot because I'm like, yeah, German and Scottish. I know nothing about the
It wasn't
language.
like that was part
I
of their
know no
heritage.
recipes. So it feels kind of odd, if that makes sense. Whereas I feel more Southern than anything.
Yeah.
Because like I did the debutante balls and I did the
But I think that's
etiquette
also,
classes. and...
I think that's also okay to say I'm Southern with a Scottish / whatever
German.
background.
It's mainly German in my family.
background.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, and coming from the
'Cause
South
that
is
is
such
a
a big
culture.
part of the U.S.
Yeah,
the
that
South
is a
really
culture.
Well, Oklahoma's so weird because nobody wants it. So it's like they have these lists online of like Southern states, Southwestern states, Midwestern. It's not on any
On
list,
any of them. Oh, wow.
which I can't blame them.
Well, they have
never
this weird
been.
arm that's out here like, come to my state.
Right? Like I've driven. Have you ever driven through the Panhandle?
I've driven all through the U.S.
Okay.
That's what.
So I drove through there once, and we stopped at like there was one restaurant when we did this, and granted it was a while ago, and there was like a pen of pigs out back, and all of the things on the menu were pork, and I was just like,
No!
like I just ate
I
Peppa
could-
Pig.
I would not be able to do
No,
that.
I know.
could
No, I
not.
know.
I eat so blindly. We've had this conversation
Yeah.
already. I eat incredibly blindly. I pretend as if the
Yeah.
whatever it is I'm eating was just born dead.
I love so many animals.
I'm not kidding.
Like I'm feeding squirrels now. There's like 5 squirrels that visit me now
Oh.
daily. Because
Really?
I write
That's so
and
cute.
write outside, and they come
Yes.
and in fact one of them scratched me. And I was like,
That's
"You're fine. You're
Really?
having a bad day." Anyway,
Yeah.
but how were you able to be on stage and be the lead and to kind of cultivate this whole theater experience when
Yeah.
number one, your home life was not the best, and then number two, like you're kind of whacked out too.
I mean, it was kind of a weird home life because in some ways it was really great, and in some ways it was really terrible, and that was kind of a hard thing for me to kind of. It almost made reality seem very confusing to me, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think it would have been in weird ways easier if it had been one or the other.
100%.
Because it was
'Cause
like
you know
there
what to
were
expect.
right, and that was the thing is it was so scary because there was no idea what to expect at any moment. And my mom and I have talked about this a lot, but so I found a lot of solace in creativity, and so I would put on magic shows in the living room and like charge my family to come see them. And like I played piano like competitively at a very young age and like would write piano with my brother, you know, like.
You have an excellent singing voice.
Well, I just have to say this to our audience. Go to Megan Davis's Instagram. There's a really sweet clip. You're playing the Rose with your
with my mom.
and you singing, and it just melted my heart.
She's the cutest. Like she's
no, but
she's
you're
a little
piano
nugget.
playing, and now you're singing jazz like around LA too.
Yeah, I think it's so much fun. I mean, jazz is really my favorite.
You're Jessica Rabbit. That's all I have to say.
Yes.
Like, right? She's like, get out of here.
My dream would be to be Jessica Rabbit. So I mean,
Well,
Somebody, come on.
go.
We're doing all these other Broadway musical movies, so why not?
listen, I would love. Basically, like I found solace in all of that, and then my mom and my dad's family have always been very big in the arts. So like my mom likes to tell this story about when we went to the opera when I was a kid, and my dad and my brother sat towards the back so they could read. And I couldn't read, so it didn't matter if I was like able to see the subtitles.
Yeah.
And my mom said, you know, we were watching La Traviata, I think, and my mom was like, she looked over and I was sobbing, and she was like,
That's
"Why
a good
are
first
you?"
opera, by the way.
It's my favorite one.
It's a good first opera.
It's exactly Moulin Rouge.
Yeah.
And people have no idea. I'm like, even him throwing the money on her on the ground, phenomenal. So my mom looks over and I'm like sobbing. And she's like, "Why are you crying? Like, you don't even know what's happening." And I was like, you don't need to be able to read to understand what's happening.
So let me put it this way. Opera is almost like we feel like it's a higher elevated art, just the way poetry is. But
Interesting, because I don't.
I think poetry and opera are considered like
No, I get what I totally get what you're
cerebral,
saying. I'm just saying
you have
like
to come a little bit educated. But my first opera I saw was Madame Butterfly, and I was 12 years old.
Really,
and I sobbed
Puccini?
my eyes out because it was so sad.
Have you ever
Right.
noticed that at the end of all of Puccini's operas, he does the same thing? Butterfly, butterfly, turn dot, me,
Well,
me, me,
he had a
me.
crazy life too. Yeah.
Turn dot was the first opera I was in, which Puccini.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this means like entertainment was your destiny.
Yeah, it was
because you were able
super-
to work through all of this.
It was super problematic too because I was in Turn Dot and they had me like all dressed up like a Chinese like child, like
Well,
with
I
like
mean,
the
wow.
makeup.
It's-
And
yeah.
I'm like,
It's
you guys,
Tulsa.
this is,
What else are they?
yeah,
You know,
it's very not 2024. Like, this is mortifying.
I love when they do Dreamgirls at an all-white school. Like, I'm like, what are you? How are you going to cast this? I mean, right? And they're like, here I am telling
They don't
you.
still have all white schools.
No, but you,
Oh,
you know what
okay.
I mean.
I
Where
was
it's just
like,
it's like we have
I'd be-
2 black students. Let's do Dreamgirls. But then
Yeah,
you also
the-
had the opportunity to go to the Edinburgh Theatre Festival,
Mhm.
which we know for actors that's like a check on a bucket list.
Dude,
to go to
incredible.
Edinburgh is huge. What was it like being a girl from Oklahoma and then all of a sudden having your eyes opened up to this whole experience where it's all consummate theater people in a
Yeah.
whole different country? That must have blown your mind.
Well, I was super drunk for a lot of it, but it was, I was also participating at the time. My friends and I had a bet to see who could kiss 100 people before you turned 18.
That's a movie in itself.
Yes.
Well, and I was at a huge advantage because, like, I enjoyed kissing. I didn't care who the bottle landed on. You know what I mean? So I was like, great. I won, by the way.
Do you consider yourself bisexual? Do you consider yourself queer?
Yeah.
Like,
You know what's so interesting is, like, I hate like the idea of
Labels,
labeling things.
yeah.
And I know that's so cliche right now.
but now we have no labels. When I first came out, it was gay or straight. If you said you were
Right.
bi, you were lying about being
You
gay.
were lying about being gay.
Right.
And that's the thing is like, it's so, because I was asked this question recently about like, why is representation important? Which I think is crazy that like we're even questioning if it is. But like when I was a kid, I didn't know what was going on with my own body because I was attracted to guys in the way that my friends would talk about. But I also was like, am I supposed to feel like I'm on fire when I like sleep next to certain girlfriend? Like, you know, like, am I
Right.
supposed to be like rooting for
Yeah.
the bottle to land on whomever? Like, is
Yeah.
that a thing? Because when I was a kid, you were straight or you were Ellen, and that was it.
Yeah.
And even when bisexuality, quote unquote, started to become a thing, it was from this very patriarchal male lens of like wild things, cruel intentions.
For sure.
As long as if the girl was bisexual, that's fine. We don't want her dating another woman, though.
It
Right.
We just want to watch them have sex.
It was
and,
like,
or
yeah.
have that cute pillow fight and then in lingerie.
Make
and that's
out.
what, and
Cruel
then
intentions.
Make out.
It's all full of
It's
that.
what she said. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's.
It was, I mean, and that still really exists, to be honest. Like I've seen it a lot in the last couple of years, even with women specifically. And look, don't get me wrong, I'm men have their own struggle on the opposite spectrum, which is that they're kind of pushed into you have to be gay or straight. You can't be bisexual.
I believe it, now, and here's the thing, more A-listers and B-listers are coming out as bisexual, and now media's like, okay, I guess it is a thing because they're married and have kids and all this, but they're like, no, I respond to this.
Totally.
But I think 100% men are still, if you're bisexual, it's like, oh.
Which is so unfair. And, you know, so I mean, and so it's unfair in both ways because bisexuality, it really faces like a sense of erasure on both sides. You know, with men, it's that you can't really be bisexual. Like, if you want a penis in you, then like you're gay, which is just not true.
Why'd you look at me? I'm a power top.
Which I just found out.
Blouse? Yes. So I'm a blouse. Is it what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. Explain what a blouse is.
You explain what the blouse
I'm
is.
excited.
You
I don't know. I don't know what a blouse is. And
a blouse is a female
member.
top. So it's somebody.
Really?
So Ross Matthews is a top 100%. I'm a top 100%. And I've tried. I think I have a tipped uterus or something. Like it just will not happen. Like
It won't happen.
I get it.
But it's like when you have a
I don't enjoy
voice
anal
and
either.
hands and all that. Well, but your G
Some
spot's
people
not
do.
in your butt.
No,
though.
I for girls, but some people do. I mean, no judgment. Like, listen, I'll try anything once. Whatever you're into is what you're into. Like, I did have a really good sexual experience, like having sex in Central Park, though, because I think I thought we were gonna die, and that was really like a turn on.
Was it your episode of SVU?
No,
You know, like that's on your bucket list. You did Edinburgh,
No.
so it's like Law and Order SVU. Like,
Yeah.
Well,
that
it was more like I was like willing to like, you know, just like stop on the periphery because I was like, you know, the novelty of like we're having sex in the park and like could get caught is there.
And Central Park is iconic.
This person was like wanted to go into the heart of Central Park. It's 4 a.m. and like we had just stopped at the sex store in the Village, and I'm just like, it was hot, but I really thought we might die, and I think it added like it was an incredible orgasm.
You didn't say it was a man or a woman.
It was a woman.
Okay. It was Kate Blanchett. Okay. but
Yeah, she was upset about the leaf blowers, and then we went in.
But let's go back to Edinburgh.
Sorry, yes.
Opening your eyes to a whole different world, whole different culture, even though you were drunk.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was really incredible. It was an incredible opportunity to even be asked. And then what came of it, which I was so proud of, to be honest, it's like kind of where I always point to when people ask me, like, you know, because I loved theater, I loved musicals, I loved film, I loved writing, I loved reading. I read probably 3 books a day, like at 5, 6, 7.
Because you were on coke, yeah.
Yes, that's when I started.
You want the audio version? Nope.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Like you said, you want to talk about it? Let's talk about
let's
it.
talk about it right now.
No, it was
Let's talk about the
actually-
forward. Let's talk about the footnotes.
It was actually kind of like weird, like weirdly codependent. Like I would like stay up till midnight to go get my mom because I didn't want her to be like in the room with my dad because I was like afraid for her. So I would stay up till midnight so I could go get her every night. No, it's so codependent.
But that's also a lot of pressure to put on a
For
child.
sure.
No one put it on me. I took it on, but
that's the
still,
point.
that's-
That's
yeah,
the exact
that's-
point that he's bringing up.
No,
for
I
a
know, that's
5-year-old to think I need to protect my mom
Yeah.
is much different. Like it should be opposite. And I'm sure she tried to protect you as well. But that normally it's a one-way street. It's not a
my
two-way.
dad this morning was like, "Let me know if there's a way to listen to your podcast." I'm like, probably not.
Yeah.
But so Edinburgh, what I always point to is that I always loved art, but what came of that was so special to me, and it's the first time I really understood the power and the responsibility of art, which is that while we were at the Edinburgh Theatre Festival, my director and I from school, because I was still in high school, and like at a high school that hated the arts, like we performed on tables in the corner of the cafeteria
'Cause all
with
the funding
the
went
fish
to sports,
sticks.
right?
All the money went to football.
Yep. Brand
All
new
of it.
uniforms. It's like we can't even get a pencil as a prop.
No, can't. Yeah, totally. Fish sticks smell, and like I wrote a whole article for the paper about like doing all the work and then like taking a breath to say your first line, and you smell the fish sticks from the morning.
And they're like, lesbian!
Lesbian. Yeah. That's when they knew.
Right away.
That was good.
Stereotypes.
No, I liked it. I
Yes,
liked it.
please.
It was a really good like callback too. So basically we went to this show called The Laramie Project.
Yes.
And I was unaware of what had happened.
So one of the questions I have for you is you didn't know what the Laramie Project play
I had
was.
no idea. I didn't even know what had happened to Matthew Shepard. Like, and this was really like not that long after. I mean, would have been in like 2003, 4. so not that long after it came out, saw this incredible, that's one of the benefits of getting to go to something like a theater festival. You get to see all these different shows. And we saw that one and we were like, we have to do that. We have to do that.
Yeah.
So for our audience that's not familiar with Laramie Project, it's a retelling of the town's reactions taken from actual interviews from the town of Laramie, Wyoming, right after Matthew Shepard's death. And it's put into a beautiful piece that has been done.
Incredible.
So that's the background.
Yeah, it's called a docudrama, which is also actually my first experience with that genre too.
It's interesting.
It's really interesting.
You have like 6 actors playing like 60 parts.
Yeah, and you're playing like all different. Like I played like the police officer that ended up getting AIDS.
Yeah.
I played like one of the, it's like you're playing all these. Like we had the killer, and then
but
you have
like chameleon. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I think that's a huge compliment.
It is, but I wonder, does it restrict your getting cast? It's like, oh, that was her, because I don't.
It might. I mean, you know what restricts me getting cast is that like nobody will believe me that like I'm like a Mormon or like a girl next door.
Why would you want to play a
Catholic.
Mormon?
I think it'd be fascinating.
Okay, anyway.
Yeah.
No,
but
I have tons of questions.
No, okay, I'm sorry. I know I get so off track.
No, that's fine. This has been like a whirlwind.
It's my ADD. So I refuse to take Ritalin or Adderall, and I just drink caffeine, and it doesn't do a lot. So we see this, and we're like, we have to do it. I'll speed through it. And we were told hardcore no, like absolutely not. We're not doing a show that's what they called like promoting that lifestyle.
Because you took it back to Oklahoma to
my Catholic high school. Mm-hmm. Because in my mind that would work out. Because I don't see things like I'm kind of naive at times. Like you
don't see boundaries.
No.
Yeah.
Because they make no sense to me. Well, my exes would agree with you that I don't see boundaries.
Same.
But I could see like bringing a show like Laramie to Oklahoma. I mean, I see the problems with that.
It didn't go well.
So,
I mean, it did go well, actually.
So
talk about that?
Yes.
Okay.
That was fresh.
So they were like, absolutely not. So this was actually my director's idea, and I thought it was brilliant. We took the script, we highlighted, so there's a character in the script based on a real person who was actually the priest in that area, was a very loving, kind, like held a candlelight vigil, like was all about like the love of it.
Which is what religion should be.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we highlighted that because we were like, look, this is going to show the Catholic Church in this way.
I love this story.
Yeah. And so we send it off. So we have to send it to the headmaster. We also had to send it to the bishop and the pope. And they came back and they were like, to their credit, they were like, look, I didn't love this part, but it was worth it. They were like, you have to put a disclaimer on all of the like programs and all the posters saying that we are not promoting this lifestyle, which I could not hate a word more used in that context.
Right.
But
lifestyle is like I go to the gym 5 times a week.
Yeah.
My family
I died because of the way I was born.
My family still calls it my lifestyle. It's like very obnoxious. Well, it's okay. But so worth it though. Didn't love that aspect, but totally worth it. And it was like a thing. Like people at the school threatened to quit. Like teachers threatened to quit. Also, the Westboro Baptists, who are up in Kansas, they found out about it. They sent word down that they were going to come and protest it. So we had to get there early to avoid like harassment. And
did they protest?
They didn't. But they just sent word that they were going to. And I kind of wish they would. I would have loved. I would have been
kind
like,
of really
listen.
disorganized.
Oh
like,
no, because that would have been a whole other story of how you ended up in jail. So.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. But what's the coolest
I beat Karen
part?
with my fist.
Yeah. I have only knocked one person out with my fist. So
who was it?
This girl outside of the Hollywood Bowl. I was walking with my ex-girlfriend. We were holding hands, and this girl just out of nowhere just was like, "Yeah, keep walking, you lesbian bitch." And
At the Hollywood Bowl?
I know. And I turned around like all excited, like, "Ooh, who's she talking to?"
Threesome.
No, she wasn't cute.
Oh.
Hatred's also like the least attractive quality to me. So I was like shocked that she was talking to us, and I would have walked away, but then she like physically came after us, and she grabbed the girl I was dating's hair, which I'm just
way.
Right. So I just like pulled her head back real quick and then punched her in the face, and it knocked her out.
What did security
and then kept
do?
walking. Yeah.
And then I kept walking. Security wasn't there. I mean, it was one punch and she was out. I just didn't. My ex at the time thought it was fun, like kind of exciting, and I was like, "There's nothing exciting about like violence and
There's
physical."
weird things happening in our little bubble of LA. Like we don't have this queer bubble anymore. We just
No,
don't.
they walk among us.
Somebody was stabbed in West Hollywood 2 nights ago.
I saw
What?
that.
right in front of Mickey's, like adjacent. Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
It was
Yes.
1 in the
No.
morning, and they got stabbed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sunday.
Did they have any
Sunday-
leads or?
Well, no, because the
It's a whole
gentleman
story.
that
Okay,
was
okay, you can tell me
stabbed
after.
was a little, was not ready to think. And then they had to sedate him when he got to the hospital. So he just was not able.
We've been through trauma, and we've
Of
had
course.
Sunday Fun Day. We're having a good time. We're not
Right.
thinking this was going to come stab
No,
us.
no. I mean, well, so that's a good. So with this, to me, and I didn't even really fully understand my sexuality yet, so it wasn't
Yeah.
really
I
even
was gonna
about.
ask, when did you feel? When did you finally click that this is who I am?
Well, okay, so So the Laramie Project, the great part that ended up happening is that at the very beginning, no one was there. It was like our parents and like empty chairs because everyone was very against it.
But what did the cast feel though? Because you have to have a very consummate cast.
Mhm.
The director had to have been into it.
Yeah, the director was part of getting it. Yeah,
So what was that kind of energy?
we were very committed to it. We felt very honored to be telling the story, and by the end, it was standing room only.
Yeah.
And
That's what I
and
was.
all the teachers were giving extra credit to people to go. And what happened was someone came out after because they felt comfortable enough, and I felt like very like this is the power of art. This is also the responsibility of art. This is your responsibility as an artist, because that was my first time playing a real person, but it also kind of taught me that even when I'm not playing a real person, I'm always telling someone's story. So it's such a huge responsibility that I take so seriously, and actually get like really upset with people who don't take it seriously, but
And it kind of kicked your ass
it totally kicked my ass.
to put you on the track that you are on now.
Yeah, it really kicked my ass, but in the best way.
Yeah.
And it felt so moving. You know, there's this part in that piece. It's such a beautiful show where, you know, his father is giving the speech that he gave about not wanting to execute them because that's not what Matthew would have wanted.
Right.
And the you know, simultaneously the crowd at the funeral is singing Amazing Grace like underneath, and it was so powerful and it was so moving. But in terms of my sexuality, no, I didn't know yet. I was a little confused. But I didn't, you know, it's weird because like I didn't have sex until after I got sober. Because
That's
I
probably
had
the best thing though.
Yeah, well, I had a weird experience, as most women have, of like being forced to do certain things. So I was kind of like would always panic right before it would get to the moment of sex, and I would just be like, "Oh, I'll blow you," which always got you out of it because guys are always like, "Great."
Guys are like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm good.
great.
Who cares about anything else?
But
to-
that's so sad to even think about that. Like, think about it. Like,
And to
so
know
that
that
I
it's
don't
just
have
a
to have
regular
sex with you, I
thing.
will put your penis in my mouth.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, well,
Defense
like,
thing, right?
wasn't really
And
in the
how
most
invasive
confident
is that,
place.
by the way.
yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, listen, it's not my favorite thing on the menu, but you know,
Honey, you haven't had a ham sandwich in a long time. Let's be honest.
yeah, no, that's fair. It has been a minute, but so I was very confused and was kind of like, maybe I just have excess sexual energy, and like I said, I was like, I'm either gonna drink again or I'm just gonna have to be okay with this. And what I started to realize is that like a lot of people say, oh, I was drunk when I did that, not for other people, but for them. Because other people don't really care. Like if you're like, oh yeah, like I like went streaking, but I was drunk. No one cares if you were drunk or sober. They're just like, okay, it's
Right.
for you.
Yeah.
So I started to realize that like when other people around me would be like, oh, I hooked up with this same-sex person or this, you know, gender queer person, but I was drunk. It was like other people didn't really care. It was more them, kind of their own internalized homophobia that we all have, in the same way that we've all had to, you know, deal with and talk about our internalized racism, our internalized sexism, the things that we grew up with as Americans. So I was like, oh, like no one cares if I'm like, oh yeah, I just like slept with that girl because I wanted to, rather than because I was drunk.
Right.
And so,
And again, it's like that kind of porn fantasy. Two girls together, just don't live together, don't get married, don't adopt
well,
a
see,
kid.
I fall in
like,
love with
don't
them,
do
so
it.
that's a huge problem.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
I
Like,
know.
That's the sentiment.
No, it is, and I saw that in actually a relationship I was in. Like it seemed like a lot of men had a lot of anger about the fact that we were dating, not just sleeping together, and that was really hard to see. But at the time, I had sex with a guy first, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe I am straight because like I liked it. We did like round 2, like
things feel good, but
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
feel good with a lot of different people. It's the emotional connection is what changes.
right.
For sure.
So then I was like, okay, so then I had sex with a girl, and I was like, nah, so I'm definitely not
You're
straight.
like, can I make you eggs?
Right, like I'm
No, here's my biggest thing. It's the emotional connection. So when I was engaged, whatever, like when she would sleep over and like I'd be like, can you like go home? Like I want my own space. But you want to cuddle?
I want to put
with...
my elf T-shirt on.
No, but that's so
such a
fair.
nerd.
That's so fair because like
It's the
I've
emotional connection.
I've stopped a guy in the middle of sex and been like, look, it's hot in here. Like, I'm going to need you to finish in the shower.
Fun. Good for
in the
you.
shower, I'd be like, I need you to finish in the Uber on the way out.
Yeah.
Listen, yeah, thank you. I thought I was generous too, but everyone, all my guy
I
friends
won't
were like,
let
that's
anybody in my shower,
horrible.
like,
No.
No, because you're so nice.
But I like also had guys be like I was like, okay, like let's like walk, and they're like, oh my god, you don't have to walk me out, and I'm like, I'm going to Taco Bell.
I
Yeah,
love you so much. You said
I'm hungry.
It's not about
That means
you,
you're not
babe.
bottoming that
I need
night.
a taco.
Yeah.
So, but let's kind of talk about your sexuality though with your
Okay.
career.
With
we
what?
look at your credits, and you played everything from glamour queen to celebrity to call girl to stripper.
Yeah, lots of strippers.
And I have to say, and I hate this kind of sentiment in even our own queer community.
Yeah.
But like, oh, I'm having Megan Davis on my show, and my friends are like, she's not gay because she's so beautiful, whatever.
Really?
There's this weird thing
Very
about
gay.
passing.
Yes, I've heard this.
And so I want to know your feeling towards that because the roles you have highlight your body very, very much for good reason, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
And so it's like, shocking. Did you want to keep it under wraps? Did your agent say, you know what, you need to keep under wraps because you'll get bigger roles? Also, like, do you hate that term passable?
I did have a teacher that cried when I came out because she was like, I thought you were going to be so successful. And she was gay. And so it was I was like,
I actually get it, you know?
yeah.
It'd be like, be Kate Blanchett and then come up.
My thing is that I just can't.
No.
I can't hide it. Like I'm one, like my sobriety like kind of dictates the fact that I'm like overly honest. Like my friends think I'm psycho. Like I'll be like, hey, I embellished that story last week. Like just because it's a slippery
I do that
slope.
after a night out. I'm like,
It's a slippery slope, like the dishonesty, and so I just try. It's really important to me. But no, I never wanted to hide it. And I don't feel that I hide it, but I also don't feel that I feel a need to. I don't want to say
Promote it.
it's not about promoting it because I'm
Yeah.
super open about it. Like I
Yeah.
have it on my Instagram. It's just I don't lead with it, I guess.
your
Like-
headlines don't read openly gay actress plays Amber Heard.
But
Like,
yeah, but I
you
also like
escape that.
I think, my bisexuality probably helped me understand her and her relationship to men, hopefully, helped me understand her because she's bisexual. So,
We're not there yet. Wait,
okay, sorry. Okay, I don't want to skip.
we have
Okay,
plenty of that.
got it. So it wasn't a decision to hide it. With the passing thing, it's been interesting because here's the thing. And like you guys were talking about accountability earlier, and I think it's a very double-edged sword, right? Because I am straight passing, but not out of
Very
a
straight passing,
but
just
not
saying
out of-
a little. But
really that straight passing, really?
don't you think?
That's hard for me to answer that question because
You like because I would say that would mean you would be
Tony,
straight
will you
passing.
put
I
one
would
of her
be straight-
modeling
I hear that
pictures
all
up?
the time.
And plus, when
I
we
hear it
see you,
all
like
the
we
time.
see you
Which
on American
picture?
Horror Story, whatever, like
Yes.
I'm sorry.
So gay.
This
I'm
is
wearing that
no.
underwear now.
This is Maxim.
Shut
This
up.
is what I had in
look,
college.
Look.
Oh my
I'm
God.
wearing that underwear now.
Oh, you are wearing those undies.
Isn't that cute?
That's
I'm not making
so
you eggs in the
cute.
morning, so sit down.
You looked like embarrassed a little bit. I know. I feel like I didn't do it. Like, see,
No. But what I'm
Same
saying,
underwear. It's ironic.
but to me,
Ooh, I like
like
penny.
as an agent or whatever, I'd be like, leading lady, action hero, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Angelina Jolie.
Well,
which
I would.
she has
Because
come
you
out as
can call my
bisexual in the last-
agent, and we all knew she was bisexual. She had that girlfriend since like Foxfire.
Yeah, and she also came out as bisexual like during Gia, the Gia year. Yeah.
I think she's single right now, so I'm like really fingers crossed.
She's so beautiful.
She's so hot. I had a dream once where I made out with her, so I'm like thinking that's like
well, if you
I
have the
had more
dream, then
intense
it's gonna happen.
that's what I'm
babe.
thinking.
She said
manifest.
that's what I'm thinking.
But has this played on your mind though? It's like, oh, when I get called in, what kind of roles are you being called in for?
Right. So here's my thing with the passing thing, and it's interesting because it's not a decision.
I hate that term too. I'm just
I get it.
Yeah.
I think that I understand it. I also think that look, I understand that there's also a huge disconnect between the way that people that came before me that are gay had to fight for their visibility and their safety and the way that I have. And so I think that gets all mixed up in there, but obviously the whole reason we do it is so that future generations feel absolutely comfortable in who they are from the beginning, never having to have that shame that a lot of us have had to to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the thing is for me is that I dress and look very what feels authentic to me. It's not a choice to be straight passing. I'm super open about my sexuality. It's just what feels authentic to me. That happens to seem to be straight passing. I have lost auditions and roles to people who are straight, but who look queer. Now, I'm not of the opinion that you have to be gay to play gay. That's a whole different thing.
That's a hot topic here. We've talked openly. If you're the best actor for the job, you're the best actor 100%. For the job.
And also, you can't have that expectation and then be like, but I can play straight. I get people's perspective because they feel it's been limited, but your acting, it's your acting ability. Anyway, that's a whole different thing. But I also understand the fact that I have lost roles to people who are straight that look queer because here's the problem. The social media mob will not do their research. They're going to look at that poster. And if I'm on that poster, they're going to say, this is not a film that has prioritized diversity. Not just because I'm white, which is also a whole different subject and actually a very important one. And that one I'm a huge supporter of, the fact that people have been actively kept, away from opportunities because of their
I agree with
color of their
that,
skin.
but I also don't believe in casting just for casting's sake, just to check off boxes. I don't believe in that either.
I don't believe in that either. I think, though, that at times it seems like perhaps not enough of an effort has been made to be authentic
100.
to the story.
Agreed.
And so I think there's a people tend to go to the extremes and then ask you to choose which extreme you agree with, where I find usually the truth is in the middle, and so it's has enough work been done to be authentic to the story?
That was fresh.
And that's what it comes down to, because a casting director has to do their job. So I feel like if we go back to a cultural casting,
Right.
if they are going to cast somebody who's Mexican, Puerto Rican, Italian, whatever, German, have they gone through have they done their due diligence to find the
Right.
best German actor, Mexican actor, whatever, insert whatever, and couldn't find it? So then they had to make a right turn.
But then you have the conundrum of I have a friend who's half Jewish, half Korean.
Mhm.
Looks
My God.
looks Hispanic, looks nothing like half Korean, looks nothing like half Jewish, looks Hispanic. So what is he supposed to do? Is he supposed to wait until someone comes along one day and writes a half Jewish, half Korean role? So it's we have all of these kind of, the issue of being authentic, which is super important, authentic storytelling, telling stories that we don't need to retell the same story over and over again. We need to tell the stories that haven't been told. And then you also have this issue of things aren't as simple as we would like them to be at times. So that's how I feel about, your question essentially is that I can't blame them for needing to have the appearance of diversity in a way that I don't contribute to. And I'm also not going to be inauthentic to myself in order to get that role either, because then I wouldn't be a very good artist because I'd be already being inauthentic, I mean, I'm willing to shave my head for sure, but
After
You're
meeting
not
you,
shaving your head.
no,
You're
after
not
meeting
shaving
her,
your
she's
I
gonna
would
do
love
like,
to.
She'll be like, "I'll play Lex Luthor." I don't
Yeah.
care.
The
this
The
is what's
whole
happening.
reason I even got the Amber Heard role or the audition is because I had dyed my hair blonde in the middle of the pandemic because I was fucking bored.
Yeah.
So this, I have 3 pages of questions, but we have
I'm
to
so
move on.
sorry. I know.
Hot take:
Yes.
the Depp Heard trial. We watched it.
Yeah.
It was daily fodder. right?
Yes.
It is such a gamble for an actor to portray a celebrity. It doesn't matter if it's Martin Scorsese directing. It doesn't matter if it's for Fox.
Right.
It doesn't matter. It's a huge gamble when you take on
Is
a
it?
celebrity role. It is.
But for
right.
sure it is.
What made you say yes to taking on the role? And you weren't even watching the trial.
I did not watch the trial. That became such a huge thing. I'm like, I watched it before I played her. I just didn't watch it like in April.
As it was happening.
Every day?
Every
Sorry,
day.
every day.
I know. So
And
many
she
people
was
did.
not. She was not the hero of the trial.
That's such a great way of saying it.
Yeah.
She was not the hero
She
of that
was
story.
not.
So why did you say yes? And what was your creative process? And what did you want people to get about her? Because you brought a whole different shade to the story. We just saw this. We didn't know what was going on behind the scenes.
Yeah. Okay, so it got brought up, and I was like, oh, I don't know. So
I would too. And you as a PR, what would your advice be?
yeah, what would you have told me if you were already working with me? Would you have been like, sit the fuck down?
No, I would have encouraged you to do it.
This is why I love them, though.
Yeah.
This is why I love working with them.
Yeah, I would have encouraged you to do a project like this and would have been on set.
It did work. Like,
ensuring-
let's just say that.
Yeah.
It did work.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it absolutely worked. And she did an amazing, amazing job. It was super sidetracked for 10 seconds really quick is that a friend of ours actually referred the two of us to one another. So
Yeah.
I watched Hot Take prior to taking her and I was like, absolutely, she's amazing. She has it. That is, that was one of the things aside from her amazing book, which I can't wait to talk about because it's so cool.
If we ever get,
I know.
I know.
We're
I'm
getting
bad
there,
at.
we're getting there. But yeah,
I'm
no,
bad
you
at
did an
this.
amazing job. And it is really tough to take on one of those roles.
Especially when it's so hot. It's not like, oh, I'm playing Joan Crawford from years ago.
Right.
But you
No,
still
totally.
have expectations.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to have a salaciousness to it, and that was a part
And
of.
she
my
was
thought
so
process.
transparently bad, So, like.
See, I don't agree. Like,
As much as I want to be on the
this is
girl
your creative
side.
process.
Yeah.
then. So what is
Okay.
your creative process? You're like, okay,
this was
number
my
one,
thing.
What made you say yes?
Okay.
And then what was your creative process?
I like how you're keeping me on task because I like.
We have to. Tony has to go home to his husband.
I know. Aw. I'm that friend who like my friends wake up to like 5-minute voice notes because I'm like, listen,
Oh, I've
like
done that.
I gotta
It's
I gotta
happened
tell
to
them
me.
like the color of the person's shirt. Like I'm like, you gotta have the whole picture to like give me advice. Like
My
my
bestie
friends.
leaves 12-minute. I'm like, you can't.
Dude,
do
someone
this
sent me a
anymore.
19-minute one, and I was like, just call me. Just call me.
Yeah.
I
Call
no.
me. Text me.
I've sent 10-minute. I'm not ashamed at all. And like, what's the difference between sending 1:15 versus like 3:05? You know?
Okay, back on track, girl.
So, here's my thing: is that I didn't watch the trial, but what I did first, which is kind of I don't know why I did this first. I listened. Someone gave me their recordings. You know, the recordings that were brought up in trial of
Yeah.
their arguments,
Which were awful, by the way.
And I so like gonna say this, and it's gonna come off weird. I heard a lot of myself in her when I was in my 20s, and here's it because you guys were talking about that earlier, like kind of the accountability aspect of being a celebrity mixed with the truth of the fact that like all of us, I don't care if you're Mother Teresa, if we have had cameras following us at all times, would have
We're
been in
human.
trouble at one time or another.
For sure.
We're all humans.
Yeah.
So I had a very similar relationship with my father. She is very open about it. She loves her father. They had some issues when she was younger. Same. I grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. She grew up right outside of Austin in Texas. Very similar. She was bisexual. I was bisexual. I felt like I heard a lot of the way that I saw the world in my 20s in her. And I had a lot of abandonment issues, and I projected those all over the people I was with. And a lot of my frustration when people talk about this trial, I get how they feel she did not do herself any favors on the stand, for sure. But I think part of my frustration is like, this girl was in her 20s and this dude was in his 50s. And somehow like the patriarchy that still exists is like wildly excusing his behavior.
It would be so different if it was reversed. If
Well,
she was older
Exactly.
than
I think people would feel
100%.
they'd be like,
I don't
this
think
poor
anybody
boy is like
excused his
kid.
behavior. I don't think no
Right?
one excused his
I
behavior.
feel people did. I
100%
I
believe.
never had a conversation
And
with
he's now
anybody
back
that
in talks with
excused his
Disney.
behavior.
He's coming back to Pirates of the Caribbean.
I know, someone
after-
asked me
after
about
they
that the other
fired
day.
He
him.
absolutely should. I'm not excusing his behavior either. What I'm saying is
A lot
that,
of people did.
Well, no, because if you remember in the beginning, it was he took the entire fall. But as you're listening to these recordings,
I
you're
did not
seeing-
feel that way.
Oh, but he did. He had all of these things pulled away from him immediately, and she was still getting opportunity.
But here's the thing. Did he have Disney pulled away from him because of her? Or
Yes,
was it also
100%.
because he was drunk and not showing up and like
They didn't care
cost
about
them
that
months?
because he was box office.
Right.
He was
Right.
drunk from Pirates of the Caribbean 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
They only did it because of
And
the
yet-
trial. Then she went
Okay.
to film her part in Aquaman 2,
Mhm.
and then they reduced her role and just
Sure.
wouldn't even look.
Wouldn't even look-
allegedly. I have to say allegedly so we don't get
Right.
sued. Allegedly wouldn't even look
You don't
at
have
her
umbrella insurance?
and like Tony, do we have umbrella? He doesn't even have pants on. What
Yeah.
umbrella insurance?
Well, here's the thing, and I hear you, but here's my question then: is that okay though? Because would that have happened if the tables were turned? I hear what you're saying. That role was taken away from him, quote unquote, in your perspective because of the article she wrote. But is it okay that he was showing up drunk and costing millions of dollars and had absolutely no repercussion? Like, where do we draw the line between this might be what happened, but maybe it should have been this before? You
This
know,
is the circle we're talking about,
Right.
like holding celebrities accountable.
Exactly.
And
But
then
we're
it's like
also
all of a
talking
sudden
about
it's
two
her
different
fault.
Things. But
I
we're also
understand.
talking about two different things, two different situations.
The end of the trial, I believe,
I understand.
everybody believed that Amber was like the instigator of all this. And what I feel
I
is
did not
like
feel that listening to the
because
voice.
he's the older guy, but that was not really like how the media.
Look, I
fashioned
also
it.
had friends that were like living there. Like I had friends that were around it, and that was not their perspective either. So
I think they're both equally guilty.
I'm not saying
I
she
don't
has
think
no
anybody
accountability for
has-
It
sure.
takes two to
But
tango,
this
but
is-
the fact that she was so much younger
And this was my
and new in Hollywood and making her name for herself, and then I'm with Johnny Depp. So is this how like
she
Hollywood
was
stars?
equally as awful as he was equally awful. There's no part of either of the two of them that have any innocence to either of this. So that's where I fall.
Well,
into
I
it.
But
think
we
that
don't
there's
even know.
innocence in the fact that, like, look, we all fall in love, and it's a very passionate thing. And if we have not
I
done
agree.
our
That is
work,
so
if we
true.
have not done our healing, we are going to project every fucking issue we've ever had all over that other person because it's the heightened, like the most heightened level of emotion. And that's what I heard in the audio tapes. So that was the first thing I did was listen to those. And I was like, I've done this. Like, I've been this person that's like so angry at the person, telling them to leave, but then begging them to stay and crying. Like, I've done this in my 20s, can tell you the person that got the brunt of it. Like, they could tell you as well. And I related to that. And I also felt like I related what I felt. And I don't know if this is true, but I felt like she, with him, kind of got into a position she wasn't in with her ex-wife, which is like in a very, I don't think, meant to be controlling way. He was helping out her friends. He was giving them places to stay. But at the same time, that's got to make you feel a little bit, strings, I guess, is be the right, like,
Subservient.
yeah, like
Yeah.
like all your friends are living there. So now, like, this one person is responsible and can pull the plug at any moment on all of these people, can also leave and go wherever they want during an argument, and you don't have anywhere to go. So it's not like, I'm not saying it was an intentional like bird caging by any means, but I could see feeling that way.
And he knew that power.
Well, that's the whole conversation
Yeah.
is like,
But we're getting off track because we're
Yeah.
talking about your creative process, and I think that you explained that very well. And what I have to say, because I looked up all the comments of all the posts of your clips,
there were some brutal ones. Yeah.
there were brutal ones, but there were also positive ones saying, I never thought about it from her perspective until it was your performance.
And that's what I took from it. So I knew that it wasn't going to be like, I wasn't going to be.
Mad at us?
I think she is. I think she is. I know. I was like,
Oh my God,
there's
it's like-
she's so mad.
No. There's just so
She's
much
so
I would like to
mad.
say, but I can't because we have to move on. But there,
Yeah.
I have
can.
opinions, but I can't.
No.
Oh,
We-
sorry,
we-
no, she
we
can't.
do.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
No,
No.
but what I appreciate you as an actress is that you thought about all sides. Because you could have played her as a villain and fed into all the pop culture memes and all that, and you could have done a character, but you did not. And
It
I
was
think
really
that
important
is
to me.
So smart.
Like, a lot of people complain that I cried because she never actually
That
cried.
was-
And
But that's where the comments said I felt where she was coming from, and the tears made me rethink her position.
well, I think for me, it was like, I'm going to have to commit to like either telling what I feel is her truth
Yeah.
or playing someone who's playing something.
Yes.
And that didn't feel right to me. And like look, love her or hate her, makes feel whatever, she is still a human being. And like that is where I was trying to come from, is she is a human being who found herself in an awful position. Was she blameless? No, I've never been completely blameless in any of the situations I've been in either.
Exactly.
Did she handle herself perfectly?
And that's just it.
No.
Yeah.
You know, she was a 20-something-year-old girl with a lot of shit she hadn't worked out. And I was a 20-something-year-old. I don't know anyone in their 20s who's got their shit
and you're
together.
sleeping with Johnny Depp. I would do, like, I'd be like, whatever you want to do, girl.
Right.
You
So
know?
I think for me, like, that was really important. And like what you said was actually really meaningful to me, which is that when they first announced it, I went into a dark hole because I got the worst hate mail. Like, you're so fucking ugly. How could you even think that you could
can't
be
even
her?
Be the truth.
No, dead serious. You're
And
fat.
No, I mean, I believe that you got it, but I mean, that's just so far from the actual reality that you can't believe.
You
But
never
it's,
know.
it's these weird
Beauties in
keyboard
the eye of
warriors.
the beholder.
It's like they weren't even big Amber Heard fans. People
Some
just
of them were
have to.
big Johnny. Most of them were big Johnny Depp fans. But what I considered to be a compliment is that after the movie came out, I knew I wasn't going to get like praise or like an award, but people were silent at first. And I was
You
like,
nullified all
you
that.
know that if they had even the slightest bad thing to say, they would have been there.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden I was like running to people on the streets and I was still blonde at the time. So people would recognize, they don't recognize me at all with this, which I love.
Chameleon. That's what I have.
No,
to
I
say.
really like
Chameleon.
not being.
I watched you in American Horror Story. I'm like, no. Oh.
Well, also, like, I love that people think actors are paid so well because I was delivering Postmates like the night that the movie came out and partially like re-dyed my hair because I was like, this is more a little bit embarrassing because I was delivering to people watching the movie.
But this is the honesty that I think that we have to talk about.
Yeah.
It's like
delivering to people watching the movie and I was like, this is embarrassing. I got to dye my hair back.
That was fresh.
Okay, we do need to move on.
Yes.
Just in time for Pride Month, you released a book of poetry.
Mm-hmm.
What breaks us?
Mm-hmm.
After everything that you've given on stage, on screen, this is the most intimate, the most naked you've ever been.
It's kind of scary, to be honest.
Exactly. So as an artist, what made you think, oh, now's the time? And how did you put it all together?
I didn't think now's the time. I think I went through a breakup that really broke my heart. I'll speak for me only. I was very in love with her. And there was a lot of like weird circumstances around that. But I wrote a lot during that time. And
instead of drinking or doing drugs.
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't really expect to get emotional about it. But
that's what we do in On the Rocks. It's like happy hour. Like we
have
fun and then we get down.
But I really loved her. And I think when we broke up, there were a lot of circumstances that I didn't really understand and was trying to work through. And they brought up a lot of my feelings about a lot of things, from the patriarchy to sexuality to society. And I think really during that process discovered in a way that like my relationship with my father was like my first heartbreak. And then in a lot of ways broke my own heart throughout my adolescence. But I've been heartbroken by this country, have been heartbroken by friends, have been heartbroken by religion and God and all of these different things. So it was kind of like this book became this exploration of like all of these pieces of me that felt so exposed when this breakup happened. And the only way I believe to like heal yourself is to go into it. You know, they say you have to go into the dark to get to the light. And, you know, I had to go through the anger and the rage at times and the fear and the sex and the attachment and addiction in order to get to like finally kind of the love and like find that empowerment and find that healing. So this book became like an exploration of all of that. And I had absolutely no intention of publishing any of it.
Your friends kind of encouraged you to do it, right?
At the time we were going through the strike, and I think everyone was kind of bored, if I'm being honest. And they were like, can can we
We
see
have a
it?
picture of you at the strike, by the way. There we go.
Oh my God, that was my favorite.
Yeah,
I
because
wish I had
you're not
come up
even-
with that. I didn't. Your hairline's like, because you remember what happened is that I think it was the head of Disney maybe at the time. But he was like, what they're asking for is unrealistic, and I was like,
you went
know
home
what,
with a
bitch?
60 million bonus.
Yeah, like you're fucking unrealistic. Yeah, I mean, and it was a time where like that at the same time I was going through that breakup. Actually, we like went to the same strike one day. It was really awkward. We got there like a little bit apart, so it was okay. But
But it's not just about one person.
it's really about me, to be honest. I mean, the one person kind of instigated it, and I'm actually extremely grateful for her because she is actually the one that told me to write. But it is a lot more just about all of it, right? Like, I mean, it's the heartbreak since you were a child into how you have broken yourself and kind of the pieces that you've accepted from society that aren't even really authentic to you, and excavating those, and you know, your shadow side and all of that. And that's what it became. And so I wasn't going to publish it. I let my agent read it, and they were like, you know, maybe I'll just send it to a few, you know, publishers. And so they did. And then like everyone came back with offers. So I was really scared when I released it because it also goes into my family, who I have a very complicated relationship with. I
was going to ask, what's your current...
Are
you going home for Thanksgiving?
Actually, one of my uncles passed away this morning, who was a U.S. senator.
You've been through a lot of loss this last week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, it's okay. He lived a very full life. He was 89. We had completely different political views. It doesn't mean I didn't love him as a human in my family.
But we also know the power of friends. Friends can be more important than family. Just because you're related by blood does not mean
They're a chosen family.
They are.
Yeah.
But my family and I have a very complex relationship. Like my stepbrother, for example, told me I couldn't come home for his wedding if I brought a girl, not because of my sexuality, but just because they didn't want to create a spectacle. And we have spent about 10 years arguing about the fact that that was very clearly because of my sexuality. And I've, you know, sent them the definition of gaslighting.
You should have brought me. I'm a man, but look at me.
You know, and that's the thing is that in retrospect, I actually, like, from a healed place, would have handled everything so differently. I would have actually shown up with, and then be like, kick me out, you know? And I think there were times where
You're done apologizing for yourself.
I'm done. Yeah. And I think there were
even
times.
in your career.
Yeah. And I asked for permission so often in my life when I should have just fucking done it and been like, if you have something to say about it, we can talk about the impact of my choices and my intentions, but I'm just going to do it. And I did. And I've grown out of that, you know, but I think I used to just ask for permission and then get hurt and sad. There's no empowerment in that. That's so, like, be yourself authentically. Let those people who have a problem with that come to you with their problems, and then fucking send them away if they have no actual authenticity. Like, there are times for sure where I've looked at myself and been like, you're right. I shouldn't have done that. Even if it wasn't my intention, I can see how that was my impact, and I apologize deeply. And there are times where I'm like, I hear you and I'm willing to have the conversation, but I'm not taking it on because this doesn't feel like it actually has anything to do with me. So my family is one of those where it's like, but I will say, I have a cousin, very religious, very sweet, texted me the other day, I got your book today. I read it cover to cover. I just want to tell you, like, said a lot of very complimentary things about my writing, but then said, I want to tell you, I am so sorry if I was ever a part of making you feel that way.
Wow.
And you are so worthy of love and so worthy of just like who you are as a human. You are so worthy, and I deeply apologize. And I was really blown away by that. So I think we also sometimes underestimate, and like, look, I think in a weird way, if I had ever come to them and had a conversation about it, it probably wouldn't have had as deep of an impact. But for whatever reason, I'm, you know, grateful, I guess, that reading how I felt, you know, through these poems, like I have one called Family where it
So
talks
Megan,
about that.
I hate to cut this short, but like we do. Can you end the show by reading one of you? We need a part 2 because like of all these
I know.
pages.
Hold on, I have to.
I didn't realize like the.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm so
No,
long-winded.
but it's
Did
so
you
amazing.
see me, by the way, just try to take a sip of this and like it spilled out into my lap?
But I'm the
I
one
didn't.
drinking. I'm the one drinking.
I know. I
Yeah,
feel like I'm
But I
drunk
have to say, we have a
perpetually.
lot of entertainment people that watch, and I think it's so important to know the struggle of being an actor in
Yes.
Hollywood. Even when you get these credits, it's still work, and it's difficult.
Can I?
So we're gonna end
I
the
was
show.
going to ask you what you wanted, like what kind of poem.
No.
But
What poem most represents you right now?
well,
And this is from Who Breaks Us.
Oof, what represents me right now? I was gonna say I was gonna read. So I wrote a poem for my friend Michael and Nick's wedding, and Michael Heslin, he just passed away last week.
For those that are watching in the entertainment industry, it was one of the saddest losses.
Oh, he's
He was
incredible.
up and coming actor, and there was no
the
reason
sweetest,
that he's
the
gone.
sweetest human being in the world, and like the sweetest family. So I was gonna say I would love, if it's okay, to read the poem that I wrote for their wedding.
Yes.
Which, okay, so it's in the book, and it's actually entitled "For the Wedding of Michael and Nicholas." I think I said Mike and Nick, but I call them Michael and Nicholas. But Michael was just such an incredible human being, and just like would love to spend this last like couple of minutes we have together, like honoring that and honoring their
100%.
love. Okay, so
Michael Heslin, by the way, look up his work. And
yeah, such a cute human being, like such a sweetheart, and just genuinely also was able to save, by the way, four different people by donating his organs. Like incredible
That's
human
amazing.
being.
That is incredible.
His last appearance was in The Lioness
Yeah.
with Zoe Saldana. I could see him on screen.
Yeah, he is a very special human being. Okay, so I wrote this for their wedding. So they say blood is thicker than water, but love is the blood you choose. It's here to make us stronger, better than we ever could have been before. It fortifies us from the core, invigorating our soul, galvanizing us not only to make ourselves whole, but to take the very marrow of our bone and infuse that with another to create a new sense of home. A perennial foundation with such an ineradicable depth that despite the torrents of the world, we're able to accept the ever-changing winds of life and hymn the voyage hand in hand. And perhaps those fairy tales were right. Perhaps we knew somewhere within that one day our prince would come along and a new journey would begin. And yet this time we wouldn't fight alone, though the dragon still will come, and the tempests wail and moan at night accompanying the siren's song. But my love, our star, is ever fixed in the cosmos of my soul, to guide my inner heart's most wish, and the name of love extol.
It's beautiful.
Megan Davis.
It's beautiful.
Gorgeous.
She's now an award-winning poet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I did. Well, actually, that poem was great because I wrote this poem about, it's in the book too, about the importance of keeping in mind that who you vote for as president affects the Supreme Court, which affects people's rights. And that won
Well, we
an
know
award.
the Supreme Court has fucked up, and we never get political on the show, so we didn't say that. But
Sorry,
Yeah.
didn't mean to
no,
take it that
it's
direction.
totally fine. Megan, what a joy to have you here, and like I said, we have
Yes.
so many other
I
pages.
know.
I'm so sorry. I know. I'm like so
No, this is exciting, right?
verbose.
Yes.
And I think it's important for the entertainment industry to know, like, what you've battled and what you've overcome and what you're doing. I just have one question. You can go in so many different paths.
Yeah.
What do you want most from your career?
I really just want to be happy and to make art that changes people's lives in a positive way.
No, be more specific.
I want it all. Like I don't want to give up any of it. I love acting. I love writing. I want to write shows. I want to write books. I want to act in series. I want to act in movies. I love the theater. I'm constantly like trying to be like, should I live in New York? Should I live in LA? Should
But we
I
know
live
theater
in New York?
doesn't pay.
It doesn't matter though. It's so important and so like intoxifying. Like there is nothing like being in a room with people and having an experience from start to finish. Like it is a communion.
I miss theater.
I did a theater show here called Famous for like 2 years, which is the
You
longest.
did a lot of LA theater.
Yeah, which is it's weird because
Okay,
it's not
that's
a thing
whole
here.
other show.
I know. Sorry.
I have to wrap up. Oh my God. Where can people find and follow you?
So I'm on Instagram at Maggie Davis. Also I started an Instagram, which is a little weird for the book, where we're doing these like really cool, it's actually Michael and Nick's idea, was photos of my friends and they're
With
naked,
your tattoos.
but I write the poems on them as tattoos. That one of the first one I posted of a guy is of Michael. And it says, "But my love, our stars ever fixed in the cosmos of my soul."
And I have to tell you, if you've ever been afraid of poetry, get this book.
It's so beautiful.
It is beautiful.
You guys are so
and-
sweet.
No, I
No,
got
we're
through
not
it in
sweet.
like a half
We're
an hour,
not sweet,
45.
though.
It's a page turner. You're like, I need
Yeah,
the next
that's
one. It's like a
it heals
drug.
you. Jen, where can we find and follow you?
You can find and follow me at Mosaic PR LA on Insta.
What's your Instagram?
Oh, she won't put it. She's like,
Give me my Insta.
I'm
was
friends
fine.
with you on Instagram.
no, her
Yes.
last post is like, it was my bat mitzvah. Anyway, that's all, folks. It's always a grab bag of fun every here on The Rocks. If you ever want to host a podcast, you do it here at UBN Go Studios. Big thank you to our engineer, Tony Sweet, who's the owner, and he's the only one that does our show because he knows we're a little difficult. Our social media clip editor, Alexis Mendez. Coming up, we have Glad Media is joining us next week to have an in-depth
Oh, that's cool.
conversation. I'm a little scared because I'm so
Why?
inappropriate, and they're like, you can't say anything.
They are very
Just
much.
be the one to shift the vibration up in the room, like lighten it up. They'll follow you.
We'll see. We have RuPaul's Drag Race, Pandora Box. We also have the full cast of Clue, the new touring production.
Oh, my friend
Nice.
John is one of the leads of that. John Chartzer.
John Cleary Chart.
Is it
Yeah,
say
he has three
Cleary?
names. Anyway, they're
Oh.
all coming on the show, so I'm really excited. We have Glenn Rotman, the
I'll
world's
show
most
you us singing
recognized
together after.
certified celebrity hypnotherapist, and he's gonna do some
Ooh.
hypnotherapy with us.
That'll be
on
fun.
air.
I
Anyway,
might come in and sit in on that one.
Yeah, that'll be
I'm a
fun.
little scared because I've never done that. Please like, share, subscribe. 358 episodes.
That's
wow!
beautiful.
Congratulations.
And I have to give credit to Mosaic, one of the first people.
Thank
Anyway,
you, babe.
next time, stay happy, stay healthy, stay sexy, and if you drink, stay tipsy. We'll see you next week.
Stay tipsy.
Episode of On the Rocks. Tweet me and slide into my DMs on Twitter and Instagram at On the Rocks On Air. Find everything On the Rocks for free at OnTheRocksRadioshow.com. Subscribe, like, review, and share. Until next week, stay fabulous.